So lately, I've been thinking a lot about friendships and how they shift and change as we get older. The way we connect, the kind of relationships we value, and the energy we have to give all evolve over time. And let's be honest, friendships in our 30s, 40s, and beyond look very different from when we were younger. And it's not just an introvert thing, it's something that many of us experience as life moves forward. When I look back at my 20s, friendships felt high maintenance. There was an unspoken expectation of constant check ins, frequent hangouts, and always being available. And if you weren't keeping up, it felt like you were falling behind. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that friendships don't have to operate that way. In fact, they shouldn't. True friendship isn't about how often you talk, it's about understanding, trust, and connection, even in the quiet moments. I used to wonder if having only a handful of close friends meant something was wrong with me. But over time, I've realized that it's not about quantity, it's about depth. And as life gets busier, we just don't have the same energy for surface level connections. We start prioritizing friendships that feel effortless, where we don't have to explain ourselves if we go quiet for a while. It's about surrounding ourselves with people who genuinely understand us rather than keeping up with relationships that drain us. For years, I felt guilty about not always being the friend who reached out first. And society tells us that friendships are a two-way street, that if someone isn't checking in on you all the time, they don't care. But that's not always true, because some of the best friendships are the ones where you can go weeks or even months without talking, and when you finally do, absolutely nothing has changed. And friendships shouldn't feel like an obligation. They should feel natural and mutual and stress-free. And the best friends understand that life gets busy, that silence isn't a sign of distance, and that connection isn't measured by how often you talk. When we were younger, friendships often happened by default. We were in school together, we worked together, or were in the same social circles. But as we get older, friendships become more intentional. People move, priorities shift, and we realize that we don't need to hold on to every relationship that no longer fits. And honestly, that's a good thing. It means we're choosing our friendships based on what truly matters, rather than out of convenience. We're making space for the relationships that uplift and support us, instead of forcing connections that feel like work. And one of the hardest lessons I've learned is that it's okay to let go of friendships that no longer serve me. And I used to hold on to relationships just because of the time we had shared and the history we had, even when they weren't making me happy anymore. But just like we can outgrow certain habits or mindsets, we can also outgrow friendships, and that's okay. If a friendship feels one sided, draining, or simply doesn't align with who you are anymore, it's okay to move on. And not all friendships are meant to last forever, and that doesn't mean that they weren't valuable. It just means that they had their time and place in your life, and now you're making room for what's next. So if you're someone who's struggling with friendships as you get older, know this. You don't need to be constantly available to be a good friend. You don't have to feel guilty for needing space. And you definitely don't need to hold on to friendships that don't align with who you are anymore. Friendships should feel easy. They should feel supportive, inspiring, and energizing, not forced or fake. And as we get older, the best thing we can do is embrace the friendships that work for us and trust that the right people will always understand us. Do you feel like your friendships have changed as you've gotten older? Do you prefer low maintenance friendships, or do you still enjoy having a big social circle? Let me know in the comments. I love hearing what you have to share. And if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to share it with someone who might relate. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay true to who you are in your beautiful heart of hearts.